Stephen Speak, a podcast about everything and nothing. Don't forget to subscribe. Hello, welcome to Stephen Speak, episode 14. Today's episode is going to be something that I am constantly doing, and I'm sure some people out there are always constantly doing this as well. Maybe all of us are, I don't know. But it'd be nice to have some feedback as well, to see what you guys do. It's about organisation and tidying and getting stuff in order. Not just like physical things, but like it's somewhat mental things as well, you know, because we're all trying to get ourselves in order, really, aren't we? So yeah, I think for me mainly it's physical things, and digital things as well, because everything's like a lot of our things are in digital spaces now. So yeah, but anyway, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, that's what the episode is going to be about today. I just want to mention something else as well. There's an extra speak coming up which is dedicated to this, but I'm investing in some new equipment, and because I enjoy doing this, and I want to make it a bit more professional. So I'm just, over the next couple of months, you may hear some changes, and please give me feedback. I'm trying to get things nice and professional, and in the hope of getting some guests on. That's where it's all going to at the end of the day. So it's not just me rabbiting on. We can get someone else that likes to rabbit too, and you can hear their sultry tones. Yeah. So anyway, organisation. So which is part of my podcast as well. I could learn a lesson or two. But for me, especially being the way my brain works, I have a lot of hobbies. So I think organising things is really important for me. But I also get distracted super quickly as well. So, and also the way I tidy is weird as well. So, where should I start? I think I'll start on where I tidy things. What do I tidy? And then I'll go on to like how I envision it'll be to how it probably actually happens in reality. And the motivation like to carry on, because that's what I struggle with sometimes. Yeah, so my organisation of things, the things I want to organise currently is Lego, is trying to organise all my spare Lego, because it's everywhere at the moment, and, you know, I've got bits here, bits there, and it's just a bit annoying, and I like things to be in their places, and it may not seem like it, but in my brain, I have a plan. And I know where things are. I deliberately put things down in places, and there'll be certain places that I will leave certain things, which makes logical sense to me. There are a few things that annoy me because they fall into different categories, and I think, well, I need that to be that place and also that place, so how will I ever know? And this leads me to duplicating on things sometimes. I would never duplicate on something expensive. I would probably then put them in a location that's dual purpose. I don't know. But the things that I like to organise at the moment are, I'm trying to organise my little cave space, which I'm doing my podcast from, partly because of the podcast. You know, I need to be able to have quick access to my things, but I'm trying to get like a quick retrievability of things, and to have things organised so I can get them out quick and then put them away again quick, so keep my space nice and clean. And I think I've always known I needed this, but didn't really know what it was called. And after reading Adam Savage's book, Every Tool is a Hammer, which I think I might have mentioned before. Adam Savage is a bit of a hero of mine. If you don't know who he is, Google him. He's one of the Mythbusters, the original Mythbuster. And he's the one that didn't have the walrus tash. And he promotes in his book basically like, you know, keeping like a clean workspace, you know, keeping your head clear. So when you don't want to be excited to start something and then have to clean your space out and clear the last thing you did. And that's kind of like the pitfall I fall into, that I'll get suddenly excited about, say, recording a podcast, and by the time I start doing it, I've kind of lost that enthusiasm. Not for the podcast, but just the way my brain works, it has to be there and then. It's instant kind of, I have to use that energy quite quickly. And I'm quite an instant gratification sort of person and move on to the next thing. And I'm learning this about myself recently, to be honest. But he talks about in his book about first retrievability, so first order retrievable things. So things you use regularly should be to hand. So in his workshop, like, he might use a hammer quite regularly, so that should be always nearby to his main workstation. He shouldn't have to go around this shop and look for it, even though he probably owns 50 hammers. It's Adam Savage, you know what I mean? He probably has a hammer for every eventuality, but as he calls them thwackers, he wants just his general thwacker for when he needs to thwack something. And that's kind of sensible, you know? So we would probably leave a pen around in a sensible place, or some paper or a notepad by a phone. So it's that kind of thing, really. And I'm trying to get my life and my spaces like that. So my garage, I did some improvements to it last year, and I'm still in a process for that. But my cave at the moment is, what I'm trying to sort out is, trying to sort out the little knicky-knack things. So, like, my stationery, which I don't use very often. I don't have, like, a collection of pens and pencils, and if I ever want to do any sketching or drawing or technical drawing, but I don't use them regularly. So these things could be stored a little bit more away from my everyday stuff. So I'm trying to store them in a way that they're reachable, so I don't have to, like, go up in the loft or something, but they're organised and I can get them easy. Lego, I've invested in the drawers, which you've probably seen on Facebook and Instagram and that. That's a big work in progress still, because I still don't know what the end game in that is and how drilled down into separating all the pieces I'm going to be. Will I just leave it with plates and bricks and then bags of random stuff, or will I separate it into more deep down categories? And I don't know. Until I've sorted out all the spare Lego I have and placed it in these containers, I don't know how much space I'm going to have. So that's the thing that really, really bugs me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love a warehouse. Like, if I had the money, like, I'd have a big house, and I would have, like, I'd probably have a massive garage just dedicated to all my Lego. Or a room or something, you know, just dedicated to the sorting of Lego, let alone displaying it. And the other things at the moment is my books. I've got quite a few books that haven't really got a home at the moment because I've run out of space on my bookshelf, and they're normally Alien books, to be honest. And I've got, like, a little thin Billy bookcase in my bedroom, and it's completely saturated with Alien books. And I've got, I think, I've already had 2 arrive, and I've got another one on pre-order. So, like, it's critical I get some of that, and I've already got some on the floor that really don't fit in a bookcase because they're too big. So I'm trying to figure out all that as well. Trying to figure out my Lego on my shelves. How does that all work? Am I going to dismantle some more? Am I going to have a bit of a reshuffle, which I think is probably more likely. And from the moment, that's about it. I've got some musical instruments, but they're pretty much sorted. But as I said, I'm trying to get everything into, like, first order retrievability. So I've ordered some new podcasting equipment, and I already own some flight cases. And flight cases for me are brilliant because I like things that fit into a space. I hate wasted space. If you ever see me pack in or anything like that, every bit of space is used. It might be a pain in the arse to get stuff out again, but every bit of space used. And I don't really want that. I want the space used, but I won't be able to just grab stuff. So for me, flight cases are good because they protect the thing that you care about. And inside of them, you can really customize everything inside. So the podcasting equipment that I've bought, I'm going to have in a flight case. If I can, I'm going to try and make it so the microphones and the cables and everything for that system is together. I may put the microphones on a separate one. I don't know yet. I'm not worked it all completely out. What I do know is I want to be able to grab that thing and go, right, that's my podcasting deck. They're my microphones. This one's got my photography equipment in. This one has, I don't know, my musical, music pedals, you know, for my guitar. This one has miscellaneous cables, you know, and that's where I'd like to get to. So if you have to buy, like, loads of cheapish flight cases, then I can, and I will, and I can customize them. And the beauty of that is if I ever have a change of heart, I can just take the stuff out of them and change the foam that's in them, like, because they have, like, it's called shadow foam, so you can cut pieces out of the foam to make your items fit perfectly and snugly. Yeah, so that's the plan fundamentally, is to get into a position where everything has its place, everything has its box, and it fits well because everything's in boxes and it's easy to get at. And even if you stuff, the thing with boxes, even if you stuff like I've got like kitchen cabinets. I've mentioned previously. I've got kitchen cabinets like built-ins. They've got no doors on. And even if I shove like 10 flight cases in one of the cupboards, the one I might need is at the back. Because they're all in boxes, I only have to take maybe a few of them out to get to the thing I need. It's not like taking separate slidey things out or small boxes or things that are just loose. Everything's in a container, and that's what I like. That's the neatness that I strive for. And the same with my garage. I was looking at my garage the other day. Last year, I invested in some like galvanized metal shelving, because I decided the best way to keep things. I had everything in boxes and stacked boxes, and I was thinking about getting some wall shelves, but my garage is like a lean-to concrete structure, so drilling through the concrete can be quite difficult. So I thought, well, if you can't, it'll weaken the structure, etc. And it's difficult. Drilling into the wall of the house isn't really ideal neither. So I was thinking, well, if I buy some freestanding shelves and put them on wheels, then everything's movable. So if I need extra space, I can wheel them outside, or just rearrange the garage. So I thought that was the best way of doing things. Again, kind of got the idea from Adam Savage. He's an absolute genius, but he's been working in these spaces for a long time. So he's passing on that knowledge that he might have taken several years to get to. It's helping me get there a bit quicker. And I probably would have got there myself, But seeing him, how he does in his shop, if you watch his videos on YouTube, he makes cases for everything, and that's something that I would like to do. I've got a few pieces of equipment, like a welder and like an air compressor, and just random tools. And I like them to have their own containers or places to live. Because even though I've got tool racks and tool chests with drawers, lockable drawers and stuff, and it's nice, certain things are too big for them. So I really like them to have their own space and really just it really pleased me for them to be sat on the shelf in a little wooden box. So once I've got the garage to a reasonable degree of tidiness, where I can feel like I can work, then I'll start working on some boxes. I think start using some of the spare wood that I've got, and maybe buy some thin MDF to really try and hone that idea of organisation. And labelling is another thing. I've spoken about labelling before, but I love everything to be labelled, and that's the good thing about if you've got flight cases and boxes and stuff, you can label it all up and say, in this box is this thing with all its accessories with it. So you don't have to then go looking for the pipe you want or anything like that, or the cable or the power cable or anything like that. Everything's in that self-contained. And that really pleases me as well, because I hate having I don't mind having random cables, but I try and organise them as well. So I've got a little pot of cables, which I try and keep them to power cables or phone cables or the types of things they would be used for. So there's a system that I drill down into, and that's how I'd like everything to be. I'd like to be able to just someone say to me, to be fair, I do already know where everything is, but I'd like it to be easier, because even though I know where everything is, it's all messed up. It's in random boxes with other shit, and I want all the shit to be separate into its own box and in its own place. And I don't think that's unreasonable, and I don't think that's unachievable. It's just gonna take a bit of time, because the way my brain works, I need to be in the right space to do it. I need to be, and I might not finish it. I might go into the garage with a great intent to tidy a shelf, and then it overwhelms me, and I end up sitting down doing nothing for a while because it just overwhelms me, the things I need to do. And I've tried to make lists, and sometimes that helps, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm very much in the now sort of person, so I have to just kind of just take a step back sometimes, and I'm starting to realize more now what I need. So sometimes it'll just be a step back and go, you know what? If you can achieve what you could achieve today, well done. If not, it doesn't matter. You've got another day. Or do what you can do and then just move on to another thing. And I try not to let it stress me too much. There are days where, say, maybe other things have stressed me. And again, it comes back to the original point where I might go in there to then organise something. But I've got in my brain that I want to organise a specific thing. But I'd forgotten that I was halfway through the previous weekend organising something else. So then I'm like, well, I'm going to have to clear that crap up to do what I want to do. And then that might send me into a, right, I'm out again kind of mode. And it's really hard for me, to be honest, because I get really hard on myself about then not achieving something. So it's a massive vicious circle. But I try and do what I can, and I do little bits, and I have to kind of reward myself for doing them little bits. And the way I tidy is kind of a vicious circle as well. It adds to this because I have a weird way, and Sarah would tell you, the way I tidy, and I think my dad's a bit like this. I've realised my dad moved house recently, and I very much think he's... So I keep tapping my pen. I hope that's not coming through. So I'm in thought, and I've got a chalk marker, because I'm actually trying to make notes there, and I keep shaking it like that. That's really annoying. And I keep tapping it on the desk, so that's really annoying as well. So I hope that's not the whole way through the audio so far. But I've written a few notes for once while I've been talking, just to try and remind me to come back to some things. I have a chalk marker whiteboard thing by my desk. Anyway, yes, my dad's moving house recently, and I found out, I think, that he's very much, he has to like spread everything out to see what he's got, like into a very exploded view, and then categorize them all, and then sort it from there. And I'm exactly the same, maybe to an extreme, but I have to kind of have a very, very broad overview of everything. And even if in my brain I know what I've got, I don't want any surprises. So when I tidy, like I've been trying to tidy the garage, and I've really been waiting for a reasonably nice day where it's not too hot, not too cold, very much Goldilocks day, so I can literally empty the garage to then sort the stuff to put it back in again, because I lose space very quickly when I'm tidying, because flat surfaces are at a premium, and I literally have to empty a container. And yes, it's a very long, time-consuming process. And it's like anything that I do. Sometimes I'll lose interest very quickly and leave everything in a right mess. But if I'm in that mood, it will absorb me and completely overtake me, and I can be tidying for 14 hours. And I get very in that zone. And that's probably what's going to take with the garage. I'm probably just going to say, if I wake up in the mood to tidy, and even if we've got plans, I might have to say to Sarah, I've got to tidy the garage. I'm in that mood, and it's a nice day, and that's what I'm doing. Because it's kind of holding me up with other things. All this tidying stuff. It restricts me because there are jobs to do around the house. Some to do with DIY, some to do with other things. And I feel like I can't complete them until I've completed this task first. Because I feel like to do the DIY stuff, I need to get my tools. I don't know where all my tools are. It's not like I don't. But I feel like that's going to make more mess. And I know that in my brain I have to then put them all away again, or else there's more mess there. And that just doesn't seem like I can do it. And that might sound crazy, but that's the way it is. Like, I'm talking about making these boxes for my tools. Before I make the boxes for the tools, I'm going to have to get everything sorted. So then I can maybe make a box a month or something like that. I'm going to have to try and plan it out like that. Because before that, I won't want to leave anything out. I will want to put things back away. And if I do have to leave anything out, like woodworking equipment or anything like that, then I'll have to leave it out with the foresight of, like, I can put it away at some point, but also still work around it if I need to. Because my garage is a bit of everything. It's my motorbike home. It's a bit of a store. It's my tools. It's where I would like to do a bit of workshopping, hobbying. But at the moment, it's nothing. It's none of that really, apart from where I keep my motorbike and all my stuff. And I do have a shed as well, but that's really tidy. Not as tidy as it could be, but because they're just tools and you can hang them up, it's a lot more easy to organise. It's like, gardening hose and spades and stuff like that. But again, I'd like that to be the same. I'd like, once I get my garage more sorted, then I'm going to work on my shed as well and try and mirror everything. But yeah, the whole exploded view thing with me is probably my downfall when I'm tidying. It came up on my memories, it was either today or yesterday, of when I used to live alone. I was sorting out all my t-shirts. Now, you talk to a guy that likes t-shirts, and I really restrain myself nowadays. Like, I have what I like, and I don't buy new stuff really, unless I put on weight like I have recently, or I lose excessive weight and need to buy new t-shirts, which I did a couple of years ago. So I've got all them shirts. So hopefully when I lose weight again, I won't need to actually buy any more stuff. But at the time, my weight stayed about the same, and I can't remember what it was now. It was nearly 400 t-shirts, I think it was. That I'd accrued over a long time. Some of them were from when I was a child, well, adolescent kind of thing that I'd kept. Yeah, it was about 360, 380 t-shirts. And I chose on this day to organise them all, basically. So I had them in, the IKEA cubes. So I had 8 IKEA cubes full of t-shirts and sports tops and different things like that. And I got up one day. I think I'd come off a night shift, and when I used to do night shifts, I used to use that time to either chill out completely or do something that didn't need a lot of thought. Because if I'd come off my last night shift and had a couple of days off, you're already a bit groggy coming off a night shift because you don't want to sleep all day because it's like a waste of a day because it's your day off. But you want to get enough sleep where you're not absolutely zombified. But this day I decided, right, I'm going to tidy all them t-shirts, and instead of doing like one box at a time and figuring out what was in each box, I just literally emptied each box, and then I organised them on the bed, just piled on top of each other. I just laid them out flat. I just laid them out and just layered them, basically. And they were about 2.5, 3 foot high on the bed. And then throughout the day, I would tidy them. I'd get bored. I think I went out for a coffee and do these things that I do. And at 10 o'clock at night, I was still tidying them. And I was like, right, bollocks to that. I'll go downstairs. But then I forgot they were on the bed. So I came to bed at like midnight and I was like, God Christ. So what did I do? All my day's work, gone out the window. I just literally pushed them all onto the floor and had to start fresh the next day. I eventually did get it all sorted and labelled them all up, and each box was for a certain type of t-shirt. So one's about like rock and roll t-shirts with music and bands on. There was a sports box, just random sports, and there was one solely for the Philadelphia Eagles because I've got so many t-shirts for them. I think there was one solely for Iron Maiden because I had so many Iron Maiden t-shirts. Yeah, and then there's just plain ones. One's about film and TV, and yeah. So once I got it all sorted, it was ace. But it just took me that time, and so you can see the problems I'm up against. Like the way I do things, it's very much like everything for me. It's very, very dramatic and very over the top and very extreme in some ways. Like I couldn't just empty one box at a time and sort them out because I didn't know what else I had, and I'd have been really pissed off if I'd have emptied one box and gone, right, that's got 3 sports tops in, 2 film tops, 1 about Iron Maiden, and 2 about rock, and 2 generic ones. What does that tell me? I can't then put them back in that box, because then that box is a mixed bag. It's a miscellaneous box. I can't do that. I have to see what the second box has in. And I think I know this enough much about myself that it becomes like an automatic thing where I don't think about, like, I don't think about that process. I just go, I need to see everything. So partly in my brain knows that about me. Yeah. But there's I've always been the same when I've been tidying. But the thing is, when I do tidy, I can get things super neat. I have a brain that can it's like Tetris driven. I can see spaces in my brain and I can make things fit in that space. I like, for example, when I got married, I had to pack the car. Sarah had already gone off to Ireland. We got married in Belfast, and she'd already gone off, and me and my mate Scott, who was my best man, he stayed over at my house, and we had to go over on the ferry. So we were going in the car, and we were taking, obviously, all the stuff for the wedding to decorate all the reception stuff. I was taking all my stuff, all Scott's stuff. We were taking some relatives' clothes as well, because some people were flying and couldn't take everything. They didn't want to take the suit bags and stuff, so we had their suits and suit bags. I had a Dacia Duster at the time, and the back was loaded. It was like a van. It was loaded, and I remember looking at all these boxes and things, and I think no one believed that they would all go in the car. And I was adamant. I was like, I've looked at it all, and I've looked at the car, and it'll all go in. And I don't know what this ability is, whether other people have it or whether it's just, I do have some sort of talent, but it all went in perfectly. Like, sometimes it takes me a bit, sometimes I have to jiggle it around, but it all went in. And I have that ability where I can look at a space and look at an object and go, yeah, I think that we can get that in, and then that would fit there, and then that would fit there. And in general, like, I'd probably say like 99.5%, like, I can get that stuff in. Like, my brain is pretty good at like estimating them volumes. So that's my superpower. Volumatic man. That sounds terrible. Tetris Man. Yeah, and I think that's why I need to see everything, because I'm so concerned about failing. Maybe I can't do this. I might have something left over at the end, or it won't fit in how I thought. Lovely cup of tea, and I think that's probably something of it as well. I like I was just tidying batteries today. I know it's a weird thing to tidy, but I bought little battery saver cases, so you can fit 4 batteries in each one, so 4 AA's or 4 AA's. It just protects them, and I find them easier because you can just grab and go with them, because Sarah has a nebulizer, and it takes 4 AA's, so for me, it's just like, if she's ever stuck and she's going to go out, she can just grab a pack of them. She bought some rechargeable ones, which is obviously better for the environment, but we still have a load of these ones left, so I thought, well, while we've got them, I'll buy these saver packs, and I'm trying to figure out a usage for them past that. I think I've measured them, and I think they'll actually fit some of my tools and stuff in them, actually, like, like drill bits and stuff like that, so I can use them for other things, I think. Anyway, but I was organising them, and I was looking at what I'd got, and I'd put them into a container, and I was like, this container's a bit too nice for putting the batteries in. It's not really fitting everything. I've had to spread them out into 2 containers, 1 rechargeable ones, 1 normal ones, and then I had this little A5 box file, and I was like, actually, I'm looking at the one, everything would fit in that. But now everything fits in that perfectly, so I can't buy any more batteries, because if I have to buy more batteries, it'll ruin that thing, and that scares me as well. Like, I always like a little bit of extra capacity so I can expand, and that's the thing that's really scary about this Lego stuff as well, because I've bought these like drawers, and I've got this other storage and stuff, and I'm thinking, what if when I start taking everything apart or figuring, organising all this sort of stuff, and I need to buy another set of drawers, or because space is at a premium for everyone, isn't it? Let's face it, that's why we have cupboards and lofts and all this, and I think we all aspire to be super organised, but it's not always that. It's not always an easy thing to do. But like, obviously, I say about the digital life as well. Like, we've got to try and organise digital life as well, haven't we, nowadays? Like, everything's in the cloud, and we've got cloud servers, and your phone photos upload automatically. But you don't want all the memes and stuff saved. So every so often, I've got to go into Amazon and delete the random shit that I've downloaded or screenshotted and stuff, and because you forget that's all gone up. And one thing that's been really bugging me recently is, like, over the years I've collected random hard drives. Well, not random, I've bought hard drives when I thought I've needed them. But I've got like 4 or 5 hard drives with primarily a lot of the same stuff on, like photographs and stuff like this. Because I've probably like backed them up as I've got a new one. I've backed the other stuff up and I've backed this up. But I've been sat for hours so far, just going through the photographs, figuring out, that's a folder, what's that? And it's like trip to Aberystwyth to see my mate. He was at uni there, and there's another one, island trips, and I'm like, well, that island trip is on that hard drive, and that's that hard drive and that hard drive. And then you're trying to figure out, well, actually, is there any more photographs? Have I only copied across a few that I liked, or have I copied the whole lot? And it's just like, wow. So I think the next. But for me, it's all right, because I like to have a couple of projects going on at the same time. So I've got this physical stuff I need to move, but the digital stuff I can do sat in the living room with Sarah watching telly. And that makes me feel good in some ways, because if I'm ever not feeling the need to move physical items, or it overwhelms me, I can have a go at doing this digital stuff, and I just feel like I've still done something. So, but once I've got it all sorted, then I need to come up with a system for what hard drives are going to be what, label them all, because I need to label everything. Yeah, and I just I've got cables everywhere. It's all the cables they've got. Because everything comes with a cable, doesn't it? And I feel like environmentally, I think they should stop giving us cables. I think they've stopped giving us chargers, which I was all right with. They should knock the money off the price of a phone if they're not going to give you a charger, though, because like the 30, 40 quid. They should give you that money back and say, we're not providing one, so here's a bit of savings. Or give you a voucher, That'd be good. Apple, Samsung, whoever, give us a voucher. Say, buy this phone, here's a voucher. You can use it to buy a charger, or you can buy, iTunes stuff or something like that. Just even if it's not the full value of a thing, just be nice. You're making billions. Come on. But yeah, cables. I've got bags of cables, stuff that I can't get rid of though as well. It's things I don't want to part with because I'm like, oh, what if I ever do need it? And that's the problem as well. What do you get rid of? But I think that's a separate episode for another day about hoarding, which I think I'm not as bad at now. I try not to be. I think you get older and you only buy, you think, what you need, or you buy your passions, buy things that you're into. And I think, save for Lego, I'm quite frugal with what I buy now. In fact, the podcasting and stuff is the most recent thing that I've bought apart from instruments and stuff. So, which I feel are going to benefit me. But yes, organising. It's a bit of a pain in the arse. Very satisfying if you can do it. But you've got to have a system. And I think my system is functionality, things categorized together, functionality, and also placed around the house where you think they would be. So for me, like, I think me and Sarah are gonna have to have a talk about where certain things are placed, so we can both get to them, like batteries and stuff. But I think fundamentally, that's what it's about for me. It's like things are easy to get to when you need them. They're organized, and they fit places nicely, so you don't have to. Like, everyone's got a drawer of shit, haven't they? We've got a drawer of shit, and we said we're never going to have a drawer of shit, and we've got a drawer of shit, so I need to sort out the drawer of shit, because I hate having a drawer of shit. Anyway, I'm going to end on that, because I'm going to get I'm going to rant about that. But yeah, that was my take on organisation. Did I achieve anything in that? Probably not. But I think, yeah, just, keep an open mind to you just tidying. I think the thing is with me, what I'm going to try and do as well, what I do a lot more of is when you've used something, put it back. And your mum and dad's always probably told you that. Put it back as soon as you've used it, because it'll just stay out, and then you've got a bigger task ahead of you. And I'm not always great at it, but I've been trying more recently. But when I've got everything tidy, I should be able to do it more efficiently. So, yes. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Stephen Speak, and I will see you on the next episode. And you never know, it might be on my new equipment. So, exciting stuff. Right, well, take care of yourselves, and I will speak to you again soon. You've been listening to Stephen Speak Podcast. I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button.